Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time podcast, presented exclusively on the Chop Sports channel of the premier streaming network. We are recording this on Thursday, February 20th. No, we're not. On Monday, February 20th. I am your host, Laurent Courtines. In this episode, Arsenal comes back off the head of a keeper, City stumbling, and why I'm okay with it, and United are actually real contenders. But first, oh my God, Graham Potter is doomed, and we will go to XG School. But before we get to that, please like, subscribe, share the show. It means everything to us. If you love me, if you listen to the show and you aren't sharing, I'm not sure our relationship is going to work, but please do like, share the show. It means everything. Please follow the links in the description to find out where to find the show. I'm on Laurent Courtines on YouTube, and you can go to the Chop Sports Network to find anything you want to. Please like and subscribe to the show. Let's get to it. So, Graham Potter is doomed. Why do I say that? Chelsea lost this week to Southampton at home on a free kick by James Ward-Prowse. And the football itself is not what's important. What I think is more important is just the way we have to think about football and the way American owners think about sport versus Europeans. I think the Burley experiment owning Chelsea, they think they have time. They think they can hire a project coach that can go 5-11 one year or go 1-15. You know, like if you think about Jimmy Johnson when he first took over the Dallas Cowboys job. Sorry, my European friends. This is a famous story. Jimmy Johnson went on to become a great coach in the NFL, but he took on the biggest. It would be the equivalent of taking on Manchester United and finishing just above or finishing in the relegation zone. Except the NFL doesn't have relegation. They had a 1-15 season in a 16-game season, and it was fine. They traded their best players away in Herschel Walker. This is like 1990, I think, or maybe 1989. And got all these picks and ended up turning the franchise around. And if Todd Boehly thinks that he can do that with Graham Potter, he is mistaken. Football does not work that way in Europe. We have to keep bringing this up. It's not owners and players. There's a third estate. It's fans. And a fourth, the writers who we're supposed to represent the fans. The Chelsea fan and supporter is not going to accept losing. They've just come off 20 years of a maniacal winning owner in Roman Abramovich. Whether he was making every call or not, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, he had a method in place. They put all the infrastructure in behind, and the coach was the last piece that could be swapped in and out. And the expectation at Chelsea was winning. Winning, winning, winning. If you played poorly, you could have had a good season. If you didn't win a Champions League, you could be sacked. You could win the league and be sacked. Anything that detrimented from winning and changing things up, Abramovich fired people. And it didn't matter because the results continued regardless of whether they fired people or chopped and changed and whatever. Now, we know that we are now in a different culture at Chelsea. Essentially, that entire infrastructure was ripped out of the team. Tuchel held the team together when Abramovich was forced to sell the team, which that's a little bit weird, by the way. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. And Boehly has come in and taken on this team and is slowly trying to put something in place. But if he thinks that he can place an American model onto this team, he's going to run into something he hasn't seen before. We have seen it. Something similar like this happened in Charlotte with the Charlotte Bobcats. They had a Charlotte Hornets. They had an owner that the town hated, and they forced the team to move, and that team moved to New Orleans and Oklahoma City and then stayed in New Orleans, and the Bobcats went to Jordan. But there was an original team, the Hornets, that were in Charlotte, and the owner was so hated that the fans stopped going. I don't think Chelsea fans will stop going to Stamford Bridge, but what they will do is make it toxic. They will sing for Potter's head. They will sing, "You're getting sacked in the morning." They will sing, "You don't know what you're doing." These are classic songs that supporters can voice their displeasure at a club for. And there's a little bit more ownership from supporters to their club than customers to their teams and franchises in the US. So Potter really, this is not some little thing. And in some sense, Potter should be fired already, to be frank, if we're going by results and by spending. So there's an expectation level here. But I think Bowley is going to treat it like it's an American team, and he's going to fuck around and find out. Now, to be fair to Potter, this is a difficult situation. There are 30 players on that team, 33 players, a normal football roster that's manageable. You play about 15, 16 in training with the roster to go to about 21 to 22, something like that. Cities, I think, is like 21 or 22. But to have 32 players on the first team roster, so they don't have roster limits. These players are signed to contracts. They're there. Potter's having to manage players that are two coaches before, and where do they go when they do training? So how do you manage the egos of a bunch of international players, some of them purchased within the last 12 months for dozens of millions of dollars? Raheem Sterling, $50 million, $60 million. He's not in Potter's plans. How do you manage that? And then the other piece that I think about with Potter is he does not have a built-in level of trust that when you walk into Chelsea Football Club, you expect there to be a manager with a resume that matches the level of the players at the club. By that, I mean, is that manager someone who has won a league? Is that manager someone who has won a Champions League? Is that manager someone who's consistently, year over year over year, taken a relatively big club, not as big as Chelsea, and put them in a good place for several years in a row? I think we thought that was true of Graham Potter with Brighton, but Brighton are not quite a big enough club. The players don't hold the stature to challenge Potter. Whereas at Chelsea, there are players that are like, who the fuck are you? What have you won? You won the Swedish league in the fucking Arctic Circle. You made one Europa League run that was cute. You kept Brighton up and you finished sixth once. I won the fucking Champions League 18 months ago. What are you talking about? I've been playing top level football since I was 18 years old. What are you talking about? Who the fuck are you? So I think that is a piece of this that's happening with Potter. And I am curious about his very XG based method. So one of the things that's made Potter well loved among among the footballerati, is his play has generated a lot of expected goals and held expected goals back. And I wanted to get into expected goals. This is for you, Mike Redman. I talk about it a lot, and I want to make sure that everyone understands what I mean by expected goals. Expected goals, I'm going to go to the old GPT chat, and I put it in the description of expected goals for a 5-year-old, and I'm going to read it off to you guys. XG is a way to see how likely it is that a shot in soccer will result in a goal. It looks at things like how far a play away from goal, the angle of the shot, and how the ball got to the player. By comparing these things to lots of other shots, it can figure out how likely it is that a goal will be scored. If the XG is really high, it means there's a really good chance the shot will become a goal. So XG numbers on every shot are placed between 0 and 1. A score of 0.5 means that if the same shot was taken 10 times, 5 would be expected to result in a goal. And if the XG is 1 or 0.9, basically it's a certain goal. So for instance, a penalty has an XG of 0.7. So there's a lot of different ways to calculate it. So you'll see different numbers in different places. Some of them are very simple. Some of them are very calculated. Some of them are from super high-end data collection where they add multiple factors in. And some of them are just, this is the shot and it's not 3D. And it's from here. There's a value. They basically take the pitch and annotate values based on every shot that's ever been taken. And they just mark it that way. It's fairly accurate. And why do I use it? I use it as a way to get a sense of how a game went and what kind of chances a team had when they played another team. So when I say, oh my God, Arsenal had an XG of 1.1, but Aston Villa's was 1.9, that just means that if you accumulate all the shots from Arsenal and all the shots from Aston Villa, that Aston Villa's total shot values resulted in more goals. It just means they had more chances. So that's how I use it. And if you see XGs of like 4 or 3.5, those are big numbers. One thing to remember is when you look at XG, good teams that are winning leagues generally outperform their XG because it means that, one, they have good players who are not average. So when a great player takes an average shot, they tend to get it in more often. And that when you're winning and you're top of the league, you tend to outperform your XG either in defense or offense. That's why you're where you are. If you just stay at your XG, you tend to slip a little bit. And then one of the things I also use it for is to see if a team is underperforming. This season, the big XG underperformer would be West Ham, who's in the relegation zone, but they shouldn't be. They've had horrible luck. Their shots aren't falling. They can't get any goals. Same thing for Chelsea. So that was for you, Mike. A little primer on the XG. Let us go quickly to the scores. So, early kickoff, Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4. Amazing game. We'll get right to that in a minute. Brentford, the amazing Brentford, pull one out late in a 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, relegation zone. Wolves lose to Bournemouth. I told you Gary O'Neill was good. 1-0, good stuff from Bournemouth. And then the Deutsche Revolution continues. Everton 1, Leeds United 0. Fantastic result from our boy Seamus Coleman on an amazing shot. Then Chelsea 0, Southampton 1. Southampton, get off the schneid. All the bottom 3 win today. Forest 1, my beloved Manchester City 1. You got battered, but I'll get to that game as well. Brighton 0, Fulham 1. This was a battle for the European places, and Fulham pull it out away from home. But they were battered as well. We're going to XG on that one. And our beloved Newcastle lose at home to Liverpool on the most ridiculous red card you will ever see. Then on Sunday, Man United wiped the floor with Leicester, but this game was much closer than you'd expect. Early on, Leicester put 2 really good chances on, and De Gea saved their ass. Second half, United were fantastic. And then Tottenham beat West Ham. Sonny getting in the goals. The venerable connection of Kane to Son get the goals. But we will go to Birmingham and Aston Villa to Arsenal 4. Wow. This game was fantastic. This game was fun. This game made me fucking angry because all I wanted was for Arsenal to goddamn lose, but they found a way to win. So early on, our boy Ollie Watkins puts one in on a nice angle, put in through, scores the goal, and it's looking like Arsenal are in deep, deep trouble. And then that's on 5. Then Bukayo Saka. There were some great goals in this game. Saka on a cross, half volley, top bins, sitting in the middle of the box. How the fuck did he get there? Bang, bang, zoom. He puts it in. Then Coutinho, just as the half is getting to end, it leveled off after 16 minutes. Then Coutinho, the dreaded Coutinho, finds a way, finishes the goal, does nothing else, of course. Shows up on Match of the Day as though he's really good. Philippe Coutinho, you're not good, but you did have a good finish. So we go into the break, 2-1, Villa leading. Unai Emery's loving it with his weird beige coat. I didn't like his coat. That was weird. Then Arsenal come out second half like a fucking hurricane. They completely dominate the second half. They come at it, shot after shot after shot. Eddie Nketiah, 3 in a row, 61, 61, 61. And then, boom, our guy Zinchenko off the corner, unmarked. Well, Mings could have picked him up. Zinchenko with the fireball shot into the corner, doesn't really celebrate, runs back to the end line, showing Arsenal how to win, just like fuck off and let's get it done. And basically, it's all Arsenal the rest of the way. In the second half, Villa take 3 shots, none on target. Take 3 shots, all saved, but Arsenal just take 18 shots in the second half. They're like, we're not losing this fucking league. There was one moment where you felt like Arsenal were in deep trouble when Martin Odegaard missed on 77. That was the highest XG spot there. Also, Eddie Nketiah, it missed one in the middle of the box. Nketiah has had a hard time, but he hasn't stopped working. And then, late in the game, Jorginho, edge of the box, fires it in, hits the post, and goes off the back of the head of Emi Martinez. Ensuing scenes. There is a corner late that that Emi Martinez, against the orders of Unai Emery, tries to go up and score. Martinelli gets a late goal on the 98 to win it. Now I have to get the drama right. Jorginho's is in 93 plus, 93rd minute. There was a lot of time wasting. There was a lot of shithousing, as you would expect. It's Emi Martinez. He's trying to slow things down. He holds a grudge against Arsenal. Martin Odegaard was incredible in this game. He created 11 scoring chance opportunity. What's the word? Shot creating actions. 11 shot creating actions. That means that he's either making the pass or the pass before the pass. So he was just all over the pitch, really trying to will Arsenal to win this. And in the second half, Arsenal just killed. Let's go back to XG. Arsenal's XG in this was 3. They did get a full 1 point for the final shot in the game, so maybe a little bit less than that. But a really good win. And this is a narrative shifter. I said on Thursday that this game was the biggest game of the season for Arsenal. And you could hear it the way the announcers announced it. Guys' voices were cracking, giving a little whoa on the Jorginho goal. They sensed the moment. I think with football, the moments are what matter, and this became a moment. Arsenal coming out in the second half and just refusing to lose and really finding themselves again after a few days, few games, about 3 weeks of not being themselves. But they really found it against Villa, and they're deserved there. They're not going to go away. So after losing to City and after losing a couple games and only catching 1 point in their last 9 available, they get this massive win, and they're back top of the league. They're back in front. They have a 2-point lead, and we'll get to City in a minute. But for Arsenal psychologically, this lifts them. This puts Arteta back in the driver's seat. This puts the faith back in the team. This puts them back together as feeling like, okay, we're going to be in this. This is not nothing. This is a good Arsenal team. And when I said about a month ago that anything Arsenal losing this league would be a bottle job, it's because of a second half that I just saw. This is how Arsenal have been playing all year. And this 3-week blip was not really how they played. City haven't played this well at all season. City have not played as well as Arsenal in hardly any games all season. So to get Arsenal into this space is where they need to be. It's where you believe in them. It's where you feel like they have the look of a champion. There's a lot of psychological stuff you've got to take on a team. There's smell, there's feel, there's energy, they got down and now they've lifted themselves back up. Does this win now lift them up and say, okay, we're here, we'll puff our chests out, we got a late winner? The later the win, the more likely you feel good about yourself. There's something weird that happens in football, and that is why this show is called, what's the show called? Squeaky Bum Time. That was a Squeaky Bum Time goal and a Squeaky Bum Time game for Arsenal mid-season. There's a long way to go. But for them, this is massive. And I do want to give a little shout to my friends at Aston Villa. Unai Emery has this team in good shape. Aston Villa are fine. I love Ollie Watkins. They're probably a defender away. They could probably replace Mings or Konza, but Mings is a left-footed goalkeeper, so that makes him more fun. They have a ways to go, but they're good. I really enjoy them a lot. And we got to see something we haven't seen before, which is Buendia and Coutinho playing together, which is something we'll figure out a little bit more as the season goes along. So, where does that take the chasing pack? We go to Nottingham, not quite the Midlands, but sort of close. City going to the City Ground, going to our friend Christian, who has been sharing in the WhatsApp videos of the City Ground, of fans singing. It makes our WhatsApp group fantastic. If you really want to know where it is, let us know. Go to the Facebook group, and we'll get you in the WhatsApp group. You can get live updates only from the City Ground and Nottingham Forest, which is fine. But City completely annihilate. I mean, I have to be fair. City draw this game, but they're completely in control of this game. It's really not a contest that I'm worried about, and it's one of the reasons why I'm not particularly worried for City in this game. They missed tons of chances, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of chances. Just unbelievable amounts of chances, and the fact that they only scored one goal on 2.5 xG really goes to show what they missed. Haaland missed sitters. Bernardo Silva's was an amazing goal. Another assist for Jack Grealish, who's been City's best player over the last couple weeks. Again, shot creating actions. Jack Grealish had 10, so he was actually City's best player. De Bruyne took 7 shots and only 1 on target. All bad. He just couldn't seem to get his shooting boots on. He had the space. He tried to do it, and he just couldn't get any good shots off. Haaland, he had 2 shots, just couldn't get it done. City just huffed and puffed and never really got anything done. But the thing that I want, there's 2 things about the City game that I do take in. On 58, Nico Williams and Andre Ayew come in for Danilo and Colback for Forest. On 72, Mangala comes in for Shelvey. On 79, Tuffalo comes in for Lodi. And on 79, Wood comes in for Aurier. Have you noticed that I have not mentioned any City changes? So Forest made all 5 of their changes. So of their 11, they swapped them all out. They had fresh legs in the game, and you could tell. You could tell City were leggy. City were mentally sort of slowed down. I would have taken De Bruyne off because I felt like Forest were getting a foothold in the game, not because of their play, but because of their energy. They had hung on. They had weathered the storm of City's attempts on goal and didn't get their goals. And then on 84, there's Chris Wood, back post from Morgan Gibbs-White, one of the best players out of one of the other 14. Morgan Gibbs-White has got to be one of the players of the season outside of the top 6. Cross across the back post. Chris Wood is there, and City just kind of lost energy. Bernardo may have been at fault. I don't know. I don't understand why you're winning 1-0 and you're in the 80th minute. You don't go to your traditional back 4 that they did the other day against Arsenal and solidified the team. And I just wonder, sometimes Pep just does these weird things, and you're just like, how can you not see this? I can see this. I'm not smart. Then the other one that I want to talk about, that the City world, if you're into City world, which most of you aren't, and this is one of these things that only fans of their clubs can see, is Ederson for City, our goalkeeper, has been poor. He's the 3rd worst save percentage in the league. Basically, of the last 14 shots on goal against City, 8 have gone in. So we're not getting that extra line of defense that Alisson provides for Liverpool, and we'll go into that when we get to Newcastle. Ederson just doesn't bail City out. You want him to bail us out once in a while. And I understand the way City play, when City give up chances, they're really good chances, and that Wood chance was about as good a chance as you could get. But it felt like Ederson maybe could have got on the cross, maybe could have come for something. I'm not sure what it is, but I just wish we had a keeper on form. I don't want Ederson to come off. I think he's fine. It's just when you dominate a game like City did and you don't get a result, you're just gutted. And good for Forest. I mean, it seems like, again, Steve Cooper, my favorite ugly coach, had a game plan. He was like, hey, if we hang in here, I'm going to go for it. And I think that was brave. To bring on Chris Wood when you're someone like Forest, most of the time, these lower down teams, they don't try and win these games. They just say, not in the face, we'll take our 1-0 loss. But not Cooper. He said, hey, I've got Chris Wood. I brought him in here on loan for a reason. Let's go get this game. Let's go put these 5 fresh legs on. If I can change half my team, just the running alone should give me something. And it did. And Forest deserved their point, even if they should have gotten beat. They saw an opportunity and said, hey, we haven't lost this game. Let's go win it. And so they go get their point. They haven't lost the game yet. Let's try and draw. Let's try and get something out of it. And so Cooper does that. And Pep, and again, City now, they have that great win, and then they slip again. So this City team is still not sharp yet, but I will say this performance from City was really, really good and something to not worry about. That has to take us to something I am worried about, which is Manchester United 3-0 over Leicester. I do want to talk about the takeover bids. So, United are up for sale. I think the sale of Chelsea really pricked the ears up of all these owners. And we're just like, you bought what for Chelsea? I'm Man United. It should be worth $7 billion. So the Glazers, notoriously one of the most hated owner groups in the Premier League. American owners, owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Glazers own the team. They've owned the team since 2005. They did a very leveraged buyout, meaning they borrowed money against the purchase of the club to saddle the club with about $500 million in debt. And they've been taking a dividend. They have not invested in the team. United fans can tell you much better than I can that they're running it for profit in a gross way. They're not taking their role as owners as seriously as the English would expect the owner of Manchester United to take their club. Now, they've been there 15 years. They've won things, whatever. They've spent lots of money. But there's something different. There's an intangible desire that you want from your coach, from your owners. They're treating United as though they're slumlords versus someone who's saying, hey, this is a venerable institution that I've purchased that means a lot to a lot of people that I'm going to take care of and leave in better stead than when I got here. So right now they've let United decline the same way that Mike Ashley let Newcastle decline. They're kind of parallels to Mike Ashley, except the money is different, where United are just like, they generate cash because someone put the work in and they did 25 years of winning, and the Glazers have been living off that. But the owners in question are a weird one here where a sheikh from Qatar, I don't have his exact name, who's the head of the Qatari Islamic Bank, the QIB, who's not the state, very important, because the state of Qatar owns PSG. This is an individual. And they're already saying the right things. We're going to buy this thing outright, no debt. We're going to respect the institution and take care of the all that stuff. Then another guy is called Sir Jim Radcliffe. He's one of the richest man in Britain, in England. And he's known for, he owns Nice. And he has been around. He's from Manchester. And he's sort of buying it with capital. And he doesn't have the same package as the Qataris. So this is an interesting piece where, we're all attacking City, attacking Chelsea. Oh, your money is ill-begotten. United's could be ill-begotten. We have to deal with these moral quandaries about owners. Who are they? What do they do? What are they about? How do we feel about it? I know I have to deal with my own owners. Everybody has to deal with their owners. It's kind of one of these things, but that's the status right there. 2 bids in on United. It's going to take a long time. We're talking between 5 and 7 billion for United. Now, the actual match, first half, I thought Leicester were very, very good, especially the first 20 minutes. They had really good chances. The Harvey Barnes shot was a 0.45 XG save by De Gea, which is a huge, huge number. And then the other save was another one from Iheanacho on 21. So within the first 20 minutes, Leicester had a goal of XG saved. So that's massive. And then Rashford gets his first goal in really strong. Fernandes has been fantastic. Sabitzer has been fantastic. He puts it to Fernandes, and Fernandes gets it onto Rashford, who finishes with a rifle. And from there, it feels like, Leicester lost a lot of juice. So United go in at the break, up a goal, and feeling like, hey, that was tough. That was weird. Smartly, Ten Hag makes a change. He brings in Iheanacho, changes the shape, and the game completely changes. Second half is all United. They completely battered. They completely battered Leicester, really, really badly. I mean, Delot almost had a goal in the first half, but it was really over from then on. And late, Rashford gets one on 50, and then Sancho, on the best goal of the game, gets another. Fernandes and Fred both with the assists on the goals, respectively. And it kind of peters out with a 3-0 win for United, but a difficult 3-0 win. Even though in the end, the XG is really high, the first half was poor, and the second half, they were dominant. What does this mean? United are 2 points behind City, and they have to be discussed. Are they a real title contender? Are they there? I mean, if you take out the sort of first 3 games of the season, United are top 2. Like, they're really, really good. And I think, I talked about it a few months ago, but Ten Hag has transformed this team. He has done an amazing job. I mean, we're talking about Eriksen and Casemiro coming in, but Eriksen and Casemiro have not played for the last few weeks. And United are still winning these games. They had a little bit of a slip against Leeds. Those Leeds games were tough, and I thought Leeds played well, but they got results. And they're sitting, in the driver's seat in third place. Maybe Arsenal and City punch themselves out. There's a gap now coming between the top 3 and then the next, and then the fourth place spot that Spurs now occupy, which seems fucking bizarre because the season has been so weird. But we have Arsenal on 54, City on 52, United on 49, and then it's 7 points to Tottenham in fourth. So there's a little bit of a gap opening between the top 3 and the rest within the top 4. But United are really good. They play really well. And Ten Hag changes games. You want your coach to make the right decision from the start. But if you're not going to make the right decision from the start, when you make changes, you want those changes to affect the team. And his changes do affect the team. It makes the team do something different. It makes them tougher to play. It makes them create more scoring opportunities. He moves a player 10 yards here, 10 yards there. One of the talking points of United has been the much loved Wout Weghorst, who had a pathetic attempt at at a bicycle kick. He can't score. He can't move. He's all over the place. He's playing as a 10. But I think there's something about him that brings spirit, that his teammates seem to like him. So I think that's a good thing for United. He's still shooting. He's still trying. He took 4 shots, most of them blocked, only one on target, that he late in the game. But I think he's liked. He's working hard. There was another shout around Sabitzer. Did he put his knee into Fayez's leg? Yes. Did he press down and push on it? No. And I think that's the reason he got away with it. I think, and this is one of the reasons why players throw themselves to the ground. Had Faze thrown himself on the ground and acted like he was shot in the kneecap by Sabitzer, Sabitzer would have been sent off. But because Wout Faze gets hit in the leg and kind of keeps going, then the referee is just like, oh, it's fine. And that's the reason. There's a reason why people dive and roll around. It works. I know no one likes it. I know everyone thinks it's wrong. But the fact of the matter is referees don't call calls unless you act like you've been shot. So if you get spiked in the knee, roll around on the ground and make sure the guy gets sent off, even if it makes you look bad. Because the fact of the matter is Wout Faze did not throw himself on the ground and roll around, so Sabitzer didn't get sent off. Now, is this another VAR controversy? Blah, blah, blah. Sure. I don't want to get into it. You guys know how I feel about VAR. I think it's wrong. I think it's stupid. I don't want it. I'd rather we just play on, because what I love about football is its continuity. Speaking of continuity, we've got to go to Liverpool, who have been playing with continuity and do get some of their players back. They go to Newcastle in what you expected would have been a massive game. And in the first few minutes, Newcastle they're on top of Liverpool. Almiron almost puts one in, but again, that Ederson versus Alisson thing, Alisson comes off his line and saves it. Thank God for Liverpool. They need him. They're still a little flaky, but this is a good away win. Let me just go into the play log here. Yeah, first few minutes, yeah, Almiron goes in and St. Maximin has a different shot. Then, but then early on 10, Darwin Nunez on an amazing pass from Trent Alexander-Arnold, a classic Trent cross-field ball from about the 3-quarter line right into Nunez, takes it down on his chest. There's a look of handball. It's never a handball. He fires it in. Then on 17, on an amazing pass. Oh my God. I miss these. From Mo Salah, he puts in Gakpo. Gakpo bangs it home, and 2-0. 2-0 to Liverpool, and they're cruising. Now, are they still giving up chances? Yes. Then on 22, after the goal, 5 minutes later, there's an amazing ball from Alisson. Alisson, you're better than Ederson. Flights a ball directly to Mo Salah off a corner. He grabs a ball, and Nick Pope, inexplicably, who's been playing a high line and is one of the most active goalkeepers in the league, he misjudges the flight of the ball. He tries to head it. He takes a step back. He takes a step forward. He tries to head it, then just gathers it with his arms outside the box for a red card because he knew Salah was right there. Then, so there you go. Nick Pope, red card. Dubravka comes in. They have to reshape the whole thing. And the game's basically over from that point on. Now, from a Liverpool perspective, it's weird because Newcastle still created a lot. Joe Linton had a shot. Alan St. Maximin had another shot. Even in the second half, Alexander Isaac had a decent opportunity that he misses. And then Joe Linton, not as good a shot, but Callum Wilson gets saved on 82. Like, there's just opportunities for a 10-man Newcastle that you have to give credit to Newcastle. But come on, Liverpool. That's not cool. You're still not airtight. So they were lucky to get away from this game with a clean sheet. And I would not feel great about this performance, to be fair. They had 22 minutes where they looked like Liverpool. And then the rest of it, they looked like Liverpool of this season. But they're fine. They play. I should bring it up. I'm going to talk about the Champions League in a minute. They play Real Madrid tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm not sure. And that'll be a game where they really need to show up or else they'll get beat badly. Another piece on this one for Newcastle. For Newcastle, this is a loss on the back of all those draws. They're now out of the top 4. Spurs pipped them with the win that they got. And they lose Nick Pope for the EFL Cup final, which is on Sunday. So this is a real blow. I don't know what Nick Pope was thinking. Just a rush of blood to the head, as they say. So they will have to go to their third choice keeper because their second choice keeper already played for United in the same tournament. And there's something called being cup tied, which means you cannot appear for 2 teams in the same tournament. It's really big in England. So Dubravka was on loan at Man United. They recalled him to Newcastle. He was the previous goalkeeper before Pope, and he wanted to play. And he now cannot play in the AFL Cup final. Nick Pope can't. We may find our friend Loris Karius, the former Liverpool player who famously got a concussion in the 18-19 Champions League final for Liverpool because Sergio Ramos elbowed him in the head, which was fucking bullshit. Anyway, craziness. But We'll see what's there. Liverpool have Real Madrid. City have Leipzig, but we'll cover that in a minute. Chelsea. So we move on to our friends in Chelsea. I don't know what else to say about this team. They cannot score. I talked about it on Thursday. I was like, you've got to score against Southampton. And they couldn't score against Southampton. I can't believe it. It's fucking absolutely mind-boggling that Chelsea Football Club, one of the great clubs in London, cannot score goals to save their fucking life. They're not even creating goals. Like, they had 1.5 XG. Okay, to 0.8 for Southampton. Southampton were game for this game. Salas has already said, I want the job over Jones. He's got to playing well. He looked great on the sideline. Raheem Sterling missed an inexplicable goal. Classic Raheem Sterling. He always misses these kinds of goals. That his 4 shots were worth 1 goal. 0.9 XG. I'll stop talking about it. But yeah, more of the same. I could have told you, Chelsea fans, Raheem Sterling ain't scoring goals unless you give him goals. You got to put it on a platter for him. So more of the same from Chelsea. More control. Kovacic was there. Enzo Fernandez, like I said, looked good. He went with Datro Fofana at striker because he still can't find one. And Madueke was in there, and Mason Mount on the other wing. He's still teetering and tottering and trying to figure out what the best group is. Koulibaly came back in. He was a mess for Silva. No Silva in this game. I think he had to bring him on later. Did he bring him on? I don't remember. No, he did bring on Fofana for Koulibaly. So a lot of weird stuff going on with Chelsea. And again, like I said at the top of the show, I don't know what's going on with Potter. You guys know I loved him. I loved what he did at Brighton. I think in the long run, he will turn this team around unless they do see him as less than. I don't think his skills are missing. It's a psychological thing. Maybe the players are like, you ain't it. You're not him. So Chelsea just have to turn this around. They do have an opportunity to turn around. They are in the Champions League. So Chelsea do they already took on Dortmund last week, but they're down a goal. They have another week to prepare for that game and see if they can't turn that around. But again, they haven't scored 2 goals since the War of 1812, since the Battle of Stamford Bridge. I don't know how they're going to score 2 goals to beat Dortmund. And now, your top 4. Mr. Tottenham Hotspur defeats West Ham. This was an ugly game first half. Very much what you'd expect from a London derby. What you'd expect from 2 teams that are known for their hooliganism between each other, not in general. But this was an ugly, ugly first half. The only cheers in this game were for tackles. Some people like that kind of stuff. It was not fun to watch. And then in the second half, it opened up. Emerson on a really good goal from Ben Davies. They were both playing fullback. They were both playing wingback. Really nice combination play there from Højbjerg to Davies onto Emerson, who's played great since Pozo came in. And then Son from Kane, who else on 72, to get the 2 goals and put West Ham away. West Ham are so bad right now. They can't seem to score goals at all. They have the firepower. It's there. They only put 1 shot on target versus Spurs. Spurs ain't this good. That's Eric Dyer in the middle of defense. What are you doing? It's Clement Longley. Like, this is not a great defense. What are you doing, West Ham? You got to attack this team. You've got to find a way to hurt them. They're not this good. Stop being so defensive. Open up. Like, if you're going to lose trying. So Moyes, I think, any other season, he'd be in trouble, but he's getting a lot of opportunity within the context of this season. I'm not sure he deserves it. There's nothing here that says that West Ham are good, aside from the fact that their XG is good. So yes, they lose, but they're losing well, and they're taking shots, and they're creating opportunities for themselves, but they are in the relegation zone. It's a fact. It's a fact. They're 15 goals off their XG. That's bad finishing. It's shocking. Their XG difference is +2, but in real actual sport, they're -10. That's a 12-goal swing. When you have a 12-goal swing in XG, you're in the relegation battle. They should be somewhere in the top 10, frankly. That's what their underlying numbers say, that they are a top 10 team. They're playing like a top 10 team, but are in fact in the bottom 3. It's shocking. And I'm sure David Moyes is showing these stats to people going like, how the fuck are we not winning these goddamn games? There's no way they should be this bad. I want to look at the culprits of who's taking these shots and not getting the goals in. I think I looked at it a while ago, and I just want to look at it again. It's sort of spread throughout the side. Bowens has 6.5 XG, but only 4 goals. Bonrama has 3.9, but only 3. Mikel Antonio has 3.1, but only 2. You'd want someone to be outperforming it. Maybe it's Gianluca Scamacca, who has 3 on 2.5. But then there's a lot of Declan Rice has near 2, but only 1 goal. So there's a lot contributing to it. And it's just shocking how unlucky they've been. They just can't seem to get their goals to go in. And it's pretty bizarre. Same here. Same goes for Bowen. Bowen is the one who you'd expect to have, at least 2-3 more goals. They just need someone to outperform. Like somebody has to show their class around goal, or else they will be in this relegation zone. And I think ultimately, if they move on from Moyes, they'll be in more trouble. And that's my West Ham take. And then for Spurs are in the top 4. They're just plugging along, winning the games they need to win. They're still scoring more than you expected. Defense has been awful this year. Just XG of 28, goals against 35, so giving up 7 more than you'd expect. Sometimes that's on the keeper, sometimes that's on the defense. And you can see these are, when I talk about XG, and I've talked about it a lot, I know, it's really to confirm what your eyes tell you, right? It's, hey, they look like they give up a lot of chances, but they don't seem to give up that many goals. And then you look at it and you're like, oh, they're overperforming their XG. Or, damn, that shot seemed to just go in. Why did that happen? And then you look and you're like, oh, that keeper's bad. So it's really to help confirm what you see. So Spurs sitting in the top 4. They have a game in hand on Newcastle, but they're a point ahead of them. There's no reason that they can't finish in the top 4 at all. There is some buzz on Liverpool finishing in the top 4 now. There's a little bit of like, hey, maybe Liverpool have a run in them. Not the way they defend. I still don't see it. They're still way, way, way a midfielder away from that being true. But let's look at the rest of the fixtures. So I think the big one of the rest of the fixtures was the Everton game versus Leeds. What a massive win for Dyche at home. You just expect it. It's Dyche, it's Liverpool, it's Everton. They're at home. They're going to find a way to win. But what a way to get this goal. Seamus Coleman, been at the club for almost 15 years, 10 years, was there for the good days, bought from Ireland for like $500,000, has been the captain of the team, famously broke his leg, missed whole seasons, became more defensive. He was a much more up and down and attacking fullback at that time. He just fires in a shot that he's hoping for, and it goes in on a tight angle, beating Meslier, who just stood there and watched the goal go in. We did not see much from Leeds in this one. This was a good, dominant, strong performance from Everton, and they're going to get these results, and they're going to stay up. There's just no doubt on it, not doubt in my mind now that they will stay up. And now I worry for Leeds. They're just not creating enough, not really finding the back of the net, not really taking enough shots. Only 8 shots. I mean, this was Everton. They were one of the worst defenses in the league. But now they've got Dyche. They've got that triangle of defense that they do from the middle of the goalkeeper spot to the corners, where they just pack that area with the back 5. And they just don't let you shoot. And they block everything. They don't let shots get on target. And so for Leeds, they are now in trouble. I think they're probably regretting sacking Marsh, especially you didn't have a plan. What were you doing? This one had some really fun feistiness between McNeil and our boy Tyler Adams. A little bit of a fight on the side of the end line, double yellows. Good stuff from Tyler Adams. I really like him. I really like Tylems. I really like Tyler Adams. I really like McKennie. I like our American boys. We're not seeing much from Aronson. He seems to have disappeared a little bit for them. A little bit of trouble there. Another relegation zone winner. I do want to give a shout out to Bournemouth. I did say Gary O'Neill had that team playing, and they get a massive, massive win against Wolves, who are also in the relegation zone. But our friends from Bournemouth do get a win, and they are out of the relegation zone while Leeds and West Ham go in to the relegation zone. So all the bottom three won, and that means we had 2 go in and 2 go out, which is nuts. So I'm trying to remember this goal. Oh, Tavernier. Yeah, it's across from Solanke, goes off his knee. I did say, and I'm not a genius. I did say that Bournemouth needed Solanke to be in, and Solanke has been a catalyst for their last 2. They've gotten points in 2 of the last 3 games where, I think Solanke makes a difference for them. Yeah, a win and a draw. Solanke is really good. And that draw against Newcastle now looks really, really valuable. I think Neto coming back in for Bournemouth makes a difference. He's a really, really good keeper. Something that, teams should always look at. He's up there in the XG save. He's got an 84% save percentage, 4.4 post-shot XG. So a really good keeper that's stopping goals that you would expect to happen. Really good player. Really good player. Their goalkeeper, he had been out for a while. Now he's back in. When Gary O'Neill got that bump, he had Neto in goal. So Neto's playing really well. Solanke's back. I still think they'll go down. I still don't think West Ham should go down. I don't think Leeds should go down. I don't think Everton should go down. I don't think Wolves should go down. So this is the difficulty. 3 have to go down. Who are the 3? I still think it's Southampton and Bournemouth, but I think Gary O'Neill can feel good about what he's done for his team. And we know about Lopetegui and Wolves really just driving that team forward. They're going to be absolutely fine. And then the last game of the day. Let me make sure that I check in before we go to Europe. The Fulham-Brighton game was really fun. Brighton going back to their Brighton-ish ways where they completely dominate this game. Their XG is over the roof, and they lose 1-0 at home. Classic Brighton. 2.2 XG to 0.3 for Fulham. Fulham's goal is a smash and grab in the 88th minute. Again, Manor Solomon, the Israeli, on the break. Really good finish. Fires it low and hard on the break. Good pass, I think. Just make sure I got this right. From Carlos Vinicius, who holds it up. And then fires it over for the goal for Solomon. But yeah, again, freaking the chances that they had. McAllister again, Solly Marsh a couple, Ferguson one. Just good chances that they just can't finish. Really frustrating day for Brighton where they could have really put pressure on the European places, but instead they sit in 6th while Fulham are in 7th while Fulham are in 6th. Liverpool are going to have a hard time jumping those 2, but they're both nailed on to be really good, pushing for European spaces. Okay, we're getting near the end of the show. Champions League tomorrow, we have Liverpool versus Real, Napoli versus Frankfurt, City on Wednesday play Leipzig, and Inter play Porto. These are big games I bring up for Liverpool's sake. This is their season. They got to win these games. Please kill Real Madrid. If you can kill Real Madrid, then I'll feel better about it. Although that would mean I'd have to play Liverpool. I don't want to do that. For City, I'm less concerned about Leipzig, even though Nkunku has come back for Leipzig. Leipzig are, Bundesliga teams are generally lightweight in the Champions League because they all play the same way. there is not a lot of variety in how these teams play. They all press, they all run, they all have poor defense. They're almost ubiquitous in the way German teams play. So I'm less worried about Leipzig. City can handle a team like this, no problem. They have a philosophy. They play 2-2-2-4, really narrow, and City will exploit that. So I'm less concerned about that. But City should have beat Forest, and they didn't. So we'll see what they do there. And we will check in with you on Thursday with those results. Okay, that was the Squeaky Bum Time podcast with Laurent Courtines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports channel and presented exclusively by the Premier Streaming Network. We record on Mondays and Thursdays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you got your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show. It means everything to us. Thank you.